Hi, my name is Cad. This is my Uncle Richard, who is also my godfather. He has always been a father figure in my life as I grew up living away from my dad. He has always been one of my biggest supporters and shows me nothing but love. He is an incredible man that never judges others and always goes out of his way to help his friends and family. He loves being around people. 3 years ago, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease at the age of 62.
There are currently 747,000 people living with dementia in Canada, with 25,000 new cases every year. 85% of those people rely on family, friends, or neighbors for support and care. In the beginning stages of Alzheimer's disease, individuals will appear healthy but gradually have more difficulty making sense of the world around them. As the disease progresses, patients commonly experience deficits in memory, navigation, language, and learning tasks. Symptoms may also be as extreme as hallucinations, delusions, and paranoia, as well as behavioral and personality changes.
One time, I was having dinner at Uncle Richard's house. It was time for me to leave, and Uncle Richard was going to be driving me home, somewhere he had been hundreds of times. Everything seemed normal at first, until he started to drive the wrong way. I gave him a few minutes to see if he would catch his mistake. He then admitted he forgot where my house was. I assured him it was no problem so that he would not feel bad about himself. I directed him back to my house and put his address in his GPS so he could get home safely.
The symptoms experienced by Richard are not uncommon and are a result of physical changes in the brain. In healthy, aging brains, proteins called plaques and tangles form naturally. Sometimes they become mutated and build up in the areas called the hippocampus and cerebral cortex, which are involved in memory and spatial processing for navigation. These mutated plaques and tangles lead to damage and death of neurons, causing Alzheimer's disease. Symptoms become more severe as the disease progresses due to the spreading of plaques and tangles to other areas in the brain.
My uncle's diagnosis has not changed the way I view him as an individual or my love for him. If anything, I have grown to admire his constant strength and motivation to improve his memory in any way that he can. Seeing him forget familiar things like daily routines and relationships is heartbreaking for me, but I have to remember to not get upset or frustrated at him. It is more important that my family and I make an effort to support him and never make him feel embarrassed or like he's less than others.
When interacting with a loved one with Alzheimer's disease, you may find these suggestions helpful. Never argue, instead agree.
Go with the flow of the conversation, even if they talk about things that aren't true or don't make sense.
Never lecture, instead reassure.
Don't talk down to them. They should be shown the proper respect as an equal.
Never say remember, instead reminisce.
Share and discuss memories of the past. This way, they're more likely to remember things from long ago.
Never say I told you, instead repeat or regroup.
Don't point out mistakes. It just makes them feel badly and doesn't help the conversation.
Never condescend, instead encourage.
Validate their feelings. Allow them to express sadness, fear, or anger.
Never say you can't, instead do what they can.
Follow their lead. Don't force conversation topics or activities. Thank you for listening to my story. This video has been presented to you by the McMaster Alzheimer's Society. If you or someone you know has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, feel free to visit facebook.com/mcmaster.alz for more information.